Well, good evening. We are finally live.
My fault again.
I'm going to have to spank you.
You're going to have to, I think. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
Good evening, everybody. Forgive us for being 19 minutes late. There was a bit of technical difficulties, but it's better being late than never, eh?
That's right. It's the technical difficulties never fail when you're back in the boonies.
Absolutely. So I want to say hello to, first of all, a few people that are here with us already, Alison and Field Guy. And Michael, how are you doing all this evening? And Elvis is in the building. So let's just go through our introduction. Welcome to Wicked Woman on behalf of myself, Wendy Robertson.
And me, Valerie Resnick.
And together we make up the very, very lovely blonde bombshell Wicked Women.
Wicked Women.
And we're trying to look very innocent today because it's Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day. That's another reason I was late. I was at my mama's house.
Well, the thing is, as I was just saying just now, it's not Mother's Day in the UK. We had our Mother's Day in, I think, March or April, but it is in Canada and America. So I want to say good day to everybody, because I'm actually recording this at 20 past 11 in the evening. So I hope Mother's Day is going really well to all our people that have children, people that have fur babies, and even people that are aunties or bringing up other people's babies that aren't theirs, or even if you couldn't have children but you have a fur baby or someone special in your life, have a great Mother's Day.
But even people who have tried and something happened, they're still mamas. They're still mamas.
Yeah, I mean, because I lost two, and I suppose sometimes I actually don't think of myself in that way, and I'm saying, well, I'm a fur baby mummy, but actually I am.
You are a mama.
Poor Scotty. Yes, we heard all about Scotty being in jail.
Can you believe that? That's ridiculous.
I cannot believe he's in the doghouse. It seems that we're the only last show standing right now.
Hopefully we don't say any or do anything that could,
Because I think it looks like Robertson are going to have to go from Robertson YouTube finally, because Scotty can't do nothing. Poor guy. Elvis, how are you? Scotty is in YouTube doghouse. I'm glad you guys can be with us. Phil Guy says he's still standing. So, Phil, what were we going to talk about tonight? What was the plan?
We were going to talk about these women that use their womanly wiles.
Oh, surely not.
To get what they want. And believe me, I went back and found two from the Bible.
Did you really? Wow. You were just busy.
I did. I found two from the Bible, and then, of course, the Matahara. She's probably, I think most people have heard of the Matahara.
I'm just going to bring in some of these reports because they're quite fun. Phil Guy, well, no, I didn't break anything. I just got here. And hashtag free Scotty.
Free Scotty.
Phil, so let's bring this in. Elvis, ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has entered the building, smashing the like button. Yes,
everybody, please hit the like button and subscribe.
Yes, free Scotty, says Michael. Hey there, I'm trying to listen while partying in Myrtle Beach. Well, damn, that sounds good.
Party for us.
Absolutely. And Phil Guy says, so Elvis, Scotty is in YouTube doghouse. Phil Guy, I told you last week it's the Wendy show. I just didn't know it'd be from YouTube doing that. Well, it's the Wendy and Val show. But actually Robertson may turn out to be just Wendy this week. because we may be doing it from wicked women because poor Scotty cannot get on. And I shouldn't laugh, but it does make me chuckle.
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Poor Scotty. You know, he's good at what he does. Obviously, someone didn't like what he had to say, and that's crazy.
They always pick on just the stupidest
The
things
good ones.
you know.
So when I put up the video of all the girlies, womanly wiles, I tried to pick women that throughout the ages were, you know, womanly. Because, you know, in the 50s and the 40s, it was big bosom, it was the big eyes, which I think was wonderful, actually, wonderful time to be, you know, the kind of 60s and 70s woman, very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Not so practice your live long and prosper, said Elvis. It wasn't so sexy, I think, in the 60s and 70s. I'm sorry to say, and I was born in the 70s, so I can actually say that.
Okay, I have this to show you all.
Ah, who's that? Is it your mom?
That was my mama in the 70s.
See, very different.
Of course, this was me in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a toddler too, you know, and I remember my mum had tiny little mini skirts on and, you know, different colors like yellow and green and pastel. Oh my God. And she used to dye her hair and have the whole beehive. And, you know, and when we started wearing mini skirts later on, they were like, "What the hell are you wearing? Get back upstairs and put something on."
Exactly. Like, they totally forget that they had the knee boots and the short skirts and they totally forget all that.
Because I mean, I actually put up Daisy Duke, Catherine Back, which obviously people remember from the Dukes they've had, which was late 70s going into early 80s.
Right.
And she was a sexy woman. She knew how to use those womanly wiles. And let's just talk about what actually makes a womanly wile. And I have to put on the reading glasses.
Trust me, I'm sweaty because it's so hot outside.
Yeah, it's
my
nice
glasses are sticking to me.
I have not that problem right now because it is not time. It's so I looked online for what makes a woman womanly wiles, and I also looked about some of the Victorian women, because in the Victorian they would have the, you know, especially in the sort of early century, they'd have the low bosom very much pushed up. They'd have their fan, which they would fan like this, so it paid it.
They were more like this.
Yeah, they would push them up.
Set a coffee cup on it. Yeah,
they would get the fan and fan themselves. So, you know, it drew attention to their bosom, and you know, they would do things like, "Oh, it's faint," you know, or it's like they'd laugh at the man's joke. I actually wrote down quite a few of this today about feminine wiles in the Victorian, because we actually don't see that women were sexy or use their womanly wiles, but actually they did because they wanted a husband. It was their whole job to get a husband.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was their whole purpose, to go find a husband, preferably a rich husband. But
Elvis is the lady still like Elvis. But I have to read the comments out for Val because she can't see them. It says
I can't see the comments, so don't get mad at me if you say something and I don't see it.
The ladies still love Elvis. But you know, if you think about it, think about what they had going on underneath. They had the whole stockings underneath their clothes.
Oh my God, I would have burnt to the ground.
Silk garments. They had the lower top, and you know, it was they used it, they worked it, they knew how to work it for them to get a husband, right? So
they had that whole thing cinched up. I mean, half of what come out was probably their stomach because of, you know, probably had their heart up in here. But I mean, they
And
would like literally, those corsets were brutal.
they were, well, because they were whalebone most of the time, weren't they? They would pull them in. But also,
Yeah.
I think it was the fact that, they had their hair up a lot, which showed the neck.
Yeah.
And the neck is obviously quite, people thought that was very,
Yeah.
very sexy. And, having the hair just draped down, they had the long earrings, the big necklaces. And they
God
kind of got
forbid you
away
show
with
an ankle, though.
I know it. I know.
You're a
So,
hussy if you show an ankle, but you can have all your girls
so
sticking out.
let's look at some of you were saying you looked in the Bible, and what
I
was
did.
some of your
And
women guys that go all the way back?
yeah. Well, you remember Samson and Delilah.
Yes.
Uh, Delilah coaxed Samson into revealing that the secret to his strength was in his hair. And once he told her that, because they were actually lovers, I mean, but once he told her that, she took advantage of it and told his enemies, that's what his strength was. Of course, they came cut his hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another one was Salome. Salome was the daughter of Herodias and the stepdaughter of Herod, ruler of Galilee. And I'm sure people know Herod.
Yep, he killed all the baby boys.
Right. Salome danced. She did the Arabian dance type thing.
Yeah.
Before Herod and his guests. And her mother convinced her to do this dance in front of Herod and all the guests. And in return for her doing this, she asked Herod for John the Baptist's head on a platter.
Yeah, and she got it, right?
And she got it.
She worked all those, you want this, you give me that.
Exactly.
And I think that this is why I'm saying, like, how powerful are we as women? Because as women, we back then were seen to just have the body and our looks.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's all about what we have, although this still works for us.
Well, I mean, a dangerous woman was an educated woman back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she didn't have to depend on her feminine wiles. She could do it herself.
And if you didn't get a husband at a certain time throughout history, you were seen as an old maid on the shelf. You really had to go out and get a husband. These women sometimes had to use all their womanly wiles to get a husband, to be seen as respectable, to be seen as what's the word I want to use? Like you had some standing, because otherwise you're like old maid, or you were seen as, nobody really wants you.
And an old maid was like 19, 20-year-old.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
They would have just give up on me.
When you think about how far we've come now, like I remember in the film Erin Brockovich, Julia Roberts comes out with the immortal line, "They're just boobs, Ed. They're just boobs." But we use them. We use them because they make us feel feminine. We enjoy accentuating them. We enjoy showing them off because we can. And who doesn't like to look at them?
I mean, I'll be the first to admit, if I see a woman with a nice cleavage, I'm gonna look.
Absolutely, me too.
I mean, I don't want to go jumper. It's beauty.
Yeah, you're not just gonna go out and go. I mean, I think you guys say nice rack, something like that, right? But over here, I mean, you also see some. Let's just talk about boobs for a minute, because everybody loves boobs. When you see the women with the ill-fitting bras and they've got like 3 breasts going on, there's 2 here, and one in the middle, and it's trying to escape, and you're like, somebody really needs to get a good bra.
Right.
That's
Yes.
not working the womanly ones.
No. Or those that are too small, so that you see the bra here, but then you see the boob here and here. You know, and you can't pull it all in there because the bra's too little.
Phil Guy says you can't not look at them right there. Bada boom. Oh,
Exactly.
you can't help but not look at them. They're there, Raoul, bada boom. And Elvis says, as long as my girlfriend doesn't catch me looking. Woo, Elvis has got a girlfriend. We didn't know that. He says, Valerie, are you riding in a Tesla?
A Tesla? No, it's a Kia.
There you go. And Phil Guy is just obviously still stuck on boobs.
Boobs.
But also, if you notice, the other one as well is when they don't wear a bra. And you think they should do.
Now, I'm guilty of not wearing one. But if I'm going somewhere or something like that, I always put one on.
Well, there's a time and a place to share your breasts. But when they're down to your kneecaps and not in a bra,
yeah, mine still tend to look like boobs and not like just my belly.
Which is why, you know, when you think about the bullet bras that they used to wear in the 1950s, it was there, right?
Poke somebody's eye out.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were wearing it, and the guys would be drawn to them, and they would be like, "Look what breasts I've got! Look what shape I've got! It looks like a cone under a blanket." But and so Ursula Andress, Elizabeth Taylor, you know, Brigitte Bardot, all people like that from that area. And I'm just using those three, you know, Sophia Loren. They all knew how to work those wonderful chests by using their womanly.
And they were not stick figures. They had weight. I mean, you know, curves.
Phil Guy apparently loves this topic, says Elvis. Michael says, yes, the breasts on the knees are basset hound ears. And Phil Guy has written, Phil Guy approved. Well, I'm glad you think so. But it's like, did you ever find that when you see a lady perhaps dressed like that, you actually think, love, you don't do a lot for the rest of us? You know, like you need to, what do you feel with that?
I mean, you know, I think everybody should just be comfortable, but, you know, there's some things that, like, I've seen women in the courtroom, you know, with no bra, just laying on their belly, you know, look like a watermelon in a pillowcase. You know, that's not a good look. I mean, it's really not.
Well, they say,
and it looks like they would take a little bit more.
You think,
you know,
and you know, and I think also when women don't wear a bra, I cannot believe I'm saying this. Men are just like alarm alert. You know, they just know, because, and you know, you can tell. So moving on from that, what I'm trying to say is that we know how to work it with the whole, like the Victorians knew what they were doing by, like, look at this area, look at my neck, look at the jewelry I'm wearing.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could show all of this, even like your shirt. They could show like shoulders and all this, but damned if you could show a toe or an ankle.
Elvis says, I think a girl, if she's confident in herself, then why not show it off? Good. And Phil Guy says the boob radar is currently active. Bada boom, as Scotty would say, bada boom. So going back to some of these womanly wiles, apparently one of them is being mysterious. So maybe you just need to hint at something, get the, you know, wet the whistle, whet the appetite, and you don't make it obvious. So they go, what's up? And you're like, nothing. And they're like, really? And you know, you whether you use that in your voice or whether you use that in your fingertips. What do you think, Val? Do you think being mysterious is one of them?
I do. I think that the men have kind of caught on a little bit because, I mean, have you ever, like went and hugged on someone or said something to them and they're like, okay, what do you want?
Yeah.
They think, they've kind of, if you're around someone a lot, and you're like, hey, they're like, what do you want?
But I think if you don't know a guy and you become coy and you're coy and mysterious, there's an attraction to that because it's like what goes on underneath there. It's kind of pulling them in.
Well, it's kind of like, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of like you look innocent. What will you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What goes on underneath that exterior?
Exactly.
Another one is dressing slightly provocative. I mean, surely not.
I don't do that.
I mean, obviously, I think whether it's like off the shoulder, one shoulder, a button undone or a blouse, it can be anything.
Yeah.
Something that just draws you in to go, ooh, look at that.
Well,
Do you
and
remember?
even the split, the leg
Yeah,
split and skirts,
yeah,
you don't always see it.
yeah.
But when
I
you're
was just
walking,
gonna say that. Do you
you
remember
see
like
it.
the pencil skirt when it was
Yeah.
really tight and you turn around and then in the 80s they would have the white high heels, right?
Yep.
And you would have the split up the back of the skirt and you'd have the old white heels and you could just see the shape of the leg.
Yeah.
What? Number 3, flirt in a gentle and feminine way. So it could be a nudge, a wink, or a coy smile. This is all about being flirting very coyly. And I actually think that one works.
I don't know because I've never been successful at flirting.
Oh, I don't believe you. Come on.
I always look like I've something wrong with me.
So tell me, like, what happens? Show me the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
it's like, I don't know. I'll try to flirt and I end up looking like I'm off my, just they're like, instead of saying, ooh, they say, poor thing. I mean, I'm better off just being me.
Yeah.
Than I am trying to flirt because I
Yeah.
just don't know how.
Is that
I've
because
never been good at it.
you were not taught or because it didn't come naturally? Which was it, do you think?
Well, I was definitely never taught. Apparently it didn't come naturally. So no.
Elvis says one thing that really attracts him to a woman is her smell, and absolutely that's really important. When someone goes past you and you're like, we're like that as men, when men go past, we're like,
Right.
we can smell the cologne, and if they smell of BO or cigarettes or last night's dinner, you don't want to do that. You're just like, put the aftershave on. I want to
soap aisles over there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a really good point, Elvis, about it is because I don't know about you, what's your perfume, Val? What do you like? What do you smell like?
Well, I'm out at the moment, but I like Killer Queen from Katy Perry. That's probably my favorite one. But I've recently found it's Victoria's Secret and it's Bombshell Seduce or something like that. It's in the red bottle.
Okay.
Bombshell, but oh my God, it smells so good.
See, I'm a Dior girl. So, I mean, I've Hypnotic Poison, J'adore.
I used to wear Poison all the time.
And, it's just got that sort of evocative smell. But over the years, I've tried, I think you do, your skin smells, we each wear scent very, very differently. And Phil Guide said it's the hormones. Sometimes
I end up
hormones.
A lot of perfumes that I try, and I swear, don't think I'm just being silly, but they end up smelling like pickles on me, like vinegar. So I have to try things out. So
that's an interesting smell, Val.
I'm serious. I smell like a hamburger or something, but it's like, I don't know. It's just with my body chemistry, I guess. It's not something, but I can wear Poison, and I've noticed I can wear that Victoria's Secret, and then I have one. It's called it's from Mary Kay.
Alison says she loves Burberry. Nice smell.
I can't remember what it's in a white bottle, but I had it from a long time ago, so it doesn't change smell on me. So I kind of have to go with what I like, but I also have to go with what doesn't turn.
Do you
what
not
doesn't
think
smell different on me?
When someone walks past you and you smell them, because I've done it a couple of times, I've gone, you smell nice, whether it's a woman or a guy, I'll go, oh, you smell really good. And they go, really? Do I? Oh, thank you. You know, the fact that they've sprayed themselves like 20 times. And one of my new favorites is Yves Saint Laurent, and I think it's called Libra. And a friend of mine wore it, and I was just like, wherever she was around the house, it was brilliant.
Now that's how I am with that Victoria's Secret one. I mean, it just smells, it smells a lot like Killer Queen. I think that's why.
I'll have to go looking for that in the chemist. So number 4 of this list is something that Princess Diana was very, very good at, which was the look up and look down, which basically means it's all about the eyes. You know how to work your eyes. And when I was young growing up, I remember watching Princess Diana, and she always had a long fringe down, which as a schoolgirl I did, you know, because I was quite shy. So I had this long kind of fringe that went down, and you'd kind of like look up underneath your eyes. Did you do that?
I think that's a thing. That's a kind of a staple for shy people, because I had the bangs, and I was extremely shy in school.
And then I also think it was like, if you remember Dynasty in Dallas, you know, it always focused on the amazing eyes. I mean, Joan Collins, Linda Evans, Heather Lockyer. Is it Heather Lockyer? You know, these beautiful, you know, Linda Gray, Victoria Principal. They always look so great, and they have the great eye expression. And I think you're right. I think you can bring a guy in by using your eyes.
Sure,
absolutely. And obviously, very 50 Shades of Grey, the lip bite, chewing the lip. What about you, Val? Are you a lip biter?
Am I what?
Are you a lip biter?
If I do, it's unconscious. I don't do it on purpose.
Chewing the lip is supposed to be very central.
You know, like I said, 95% of the time, I don't even know what my face is doing.
Yeah.
I never tried to be sexy. I never tried to anything like that, because I don't know how. I just don't know how to do my face. I mean, even pictures that you've seen, my face is always just, you know, it's like I can do everything but forget this.
I have to disagree there, because I've seen those sexy photographs of you, and your eyes are working it, girl. That you're working it. But apparently, according to this little research, looking down and biting your lip and looking up apparently all works. So next time you're out, Val, give that one a go.
I'll have to try that one. I'll have to put that one mentally in there.
The next one they talk about is be a contradiction. So as a woman in your own right, be a total contradiction. You can be naughty, very naughty, but hide it with a coy smile or a quick touch, like, what do you mean? You know, that sort of thing. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. But I think being very confident is sexy.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. I think confidence is the sexiest thing, regardless.
Alison says, my eyes always say, what the fuck? I don't believe you, Alison. You've great eyes. Because if you think about it, if you walk into a room, I remember years ago when I used to walk into a pub or a restaurant or whatever, I was always insecure about myself. And it took me years to get to a point. I'd probably say really in my 40s before I actually came to a point where I was like, I work the room. And it took me to my late 40s.
Yeah.
To actually be able to walk in a room and go, I can hold the room. How about yourself?
Mhm. You know, I've always been self-conscious, always. And to a certain degree, I still am. It just depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I literally have to tell myself to quit because I fall back into that old, that when you kind of, try to hide yourself. I don't do it as much anymore. Of course, I don't go out much anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But I've always been, I think, too self-conscious and too shy to go anywhere like that. I didn't go to clubs or anything like that when I was younger.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
plus, I married young and had 2 kids, so by the time I was able to drink, it was, I was getting married, so
So you never
I
had those nightclub moments where you're across the dance floor and your eyes meet someone else and you're like, hello.
never have. I got married at 22.
That's very
And
early.
I married the guy that I had been with since I was 16.
Wow.
And I didn't go out with anybody else until, let's see, I got married in 96. I had dated him since what? 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And then had kids and everything. Didn't go out with anybody else till 2010.
And that's a bit of a shock to the system, isn't it? When
Mm-hmm.
you've been used from a young age, like Julesy was saying, she too was married at 19. When you get married young and you've not had that experience about being confident, working the room, I think
Yeah.
it's I think it is, but do you think it's important that women have that experience before they get married?
Oh, absolutely. If I could go back, I would have been, well, more like my girls. My girls are, 22 and 25
Mm-hmm.
or 24. They're doing the things they want to do.
Yeah.
I was, from the age of 16, when I was in high school, I was with the same guy. My intentions in life was to get married and have babies.
Right.
That's, and I don't know if it's maybe where, what I had pretty much been taught that I was supposed to do. Or, I mean, it's not that I didn't want to. It's just that the way I came up was when I turned 18, I wanted to move out. Oh, my parents were strictly no, you can't go anywhere. You know. So I stayed with my parents till I got married.
I think it was back in the 70s, 60s, 50s, etc. It was a way to get out of home early. I know
Sure.
quite a lot of people that married and to escape their parents, really, which is kind of sad. But you're right. I think it's good that these days you have that opportunity to go out and test the water because you kind of know one way or the other. I mean, Josie writes, I don't think I would have the confidence if I were to date now. We've been married for 33 years this July. That's wonderful, Jules. We honestly, I don't know many people that have been married that long. So it's great to hear there's someone still
Especially
like that.
not happily. And who still
Absolutely.
wants to be today.
And also I think it's from the community you're from as well. Like, you know, if you're from a very small, either a religious community or you're from a, you know, farm. I'm not saying this as in all farms being like, you know, but if you're from a small little area and you haven't gone out and the big city and you're sort of in a little community, it can be very hard to go and have that experience, as in test the water, work the room, see how you
that's
get
the
on.
thing. I grew up in Lebanon, which is just a little one-horse town. I mean, at the time, we had a 2-lane road that went all the way through town. We didn't even have the bypass or anything.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, I didn't even cross my mind to leave here and go possibly find somebody later, you know, somewhere else.
Yeah.
It didn't even cross my mind.
Do you feel like you missed out now when you look back and you
absolutely
wish you did it again?
You know, it's hard to say that I wouldn't do it all again because of my daughters.
Yeah.
I would like to go back and know what I know now.
Yeah.
I would change things.
Million dollar question.
Exactly.
Jules says Julesy says it's a lot of work. It hasn't been easy. We have had our terrible days. She wishes she could go back too. Michael says now they have 2 horses and a stop sign. So another way of getting that womanly wiles out is to ask a man for help, because I don't know about you, but I find it really difficult to ask a guy for help. I have got so sick when I was young of like, ask your dad or ask someone else to do it. And I'd be like, but I want to do it because I love technology, for instance.
Yeah.
I want to be the tech girl, right? I don't want someone else doing it for me. What about you?
You know, I always tried everything, and I could normally fix things or put things together or whatever if I was by myself.
Yeah.
If I had anybody else there, I always got so nervous because I was afraid I would do something wrong.
Yeah.
And see, when you're by yourself, you're like, oh, well, okay, that doesn't go there. But when someone is there and looking over your shoulder, you know, you just think it just puts so much pressure on you.
Have you also been in a situation where you've used your womanly wiles to get help? Like, oh, my tires got a puncture. Could you help me? Look up with them, bite your lip.
I honestly, if like I said, if I did, I didn't mean to, because the people that I call if I need help know me so well, they'll be like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
You know, it's just because we've been friends for so long.
Emphasize, like, could you help? You know, would you mind? Because I think that, I mean, I have in the past, I'm not going to lie, there were times growing up, and as I've got older, it's like, my problem is I'm great with gadgets. I'm great at sorting out stereo systems and all that kind of thing and gadgets. But there are 2 things that still perplex me. Mechanics of the car at times really get to me, and electrics. I hate dealing with electrics. Not my favorite. So I may use them to get someone to come and do
Honey,
it.
if I needed it and knew somebody, I am not against it. Trust me.
It's like, hi, I have a problem.
Do you care if I ask you a question?
Yeah. And the look up, bite the lip. It says here as well, next one, be confident at all times, which is not always easy. You know, it's
It's
not always
not.
easy to be confident at all times, to use
Mm-mm.
your full potentials. But I have to be honest, there is a part of me now, and dare I say these words, that I don't give a shit, because I've spent years being worrying, caring. Oh my God, what if I do this? What now? I just think I've got to a point where I'm like, and I think age does that, doesn't it?
It does, because you get to that point where you really don't give a shit what people think.
No, you really don't.
And I don't know if it's necessarily confidence or if it's just the fact that you don't care what people think,
No.
you know. And I honestly, I wish that I'd had the confidence I have now a long time ago, you know, because I had none. I had no confidence whatsoever.
It takes years to get that confidence up. I mean, I would say to the girls, you know, own your femininity, be proud of who you are, walk with your head held high and show everybody who you stand for.
Exactly.
And the one thing I will say about doing that, do you find that other women, not all women, but other women can be jealous of a woman who's confident, and they find it far easier to tear her down because they're not perhaps using their womanly wiles, if I want to call them that, themselves?
Well, I think that if they only would get over their jealousy and perhaps just sit down and talk to that woman, she would build their confidence up instead of them trying to tear hers down.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the jealousies they have, is she's confident and I'm not, so that way therefore I'm jealous of her, instead of asking her, you know, can you tell me how to be more confident? Can you help me be more confident?
It's our role. I mean, I have a very good friend, and hopefully she's going to come on here one Sunday, but she's young and she has lack of self-confidence, and I've done everything I can to try and boost that self-confidence in her.
Right.
And she said to me, you really have, Wendy, you've really turned me around. And I think it's our duty to, regardless of the ladies or women, to support and encourage each other.
Absolutely.
It's far easy to tear. And there's something I'm also learning now while I'm doing the podcast. And not everybody's supportive of you. Not everybody's supportive of you. And I don't mean supportive as in supporting you, but it's like, you might be enjoying yourself, you might be confident, you might be coming across as that. But other people are not taking it that way. They stick the knife in, and it's a shame, because we should all be, you know, as women, we'll go through enough tough time already.
You know, I don't want to get too far into it, but the things that are happening now in the world, women, and I'll just say biological women, really need to stick together more than they ever have.
Absolutely.
Because if we don't, I mean, I think there'll come a day when then we're insignificant.
Well, we've had to fight so long to get an identity and to get our confidence, and to be allowed to even vote and all that kind of stuff. And we're still fighting even now. There are women right now as we speak doing this that are in countries that have no power, not allowed to embrace their womanly wiles of anything, and no confidence. And I think that it's down to the rest of us to support one another.
Yeah, I think that we need to boost our confidence more than we ever have. And don't let people walk over top of you and take what is rightfully ours.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, it's a difficult subject right now, because everywhere you look, every social media you turn on has got this whole trans woman, and you know, like, and that's something we thought about we'd look look at another episode, because it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I have absolutely nothing against it.
no,
If you are an adult and you want, I don't care what you want to do, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. But when it comes to children and the ones that think they are better than the real thing, I have to draw a line.
yeah.
You know, everyone's free to do and, you know, be who they want to be, but don't try to encroach on someone else's territory.
Because women
you
are
know?
still finding their feet. Like, women are still finding their feet, even in today's world.
Absolutely.
We might have women in a more powerful way, as Alison says, absolutely, we need to stick together. Julesy says, I have a problem. I have to put my glasses on to read. I have a problem. I get along better with guys because of how women treat each other. It is so true.
I've always gotten along better with males than I have with females.
I always think that men come out and say it, you know.
Yeah.
They and women can sometimes beat around the bush or be really.
And I feel like women, you know, even my own experience, women are way more likely to stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And tell you they love you to your face.
Absolutely.
Guys pretty much tell you what they think to your face, so you really don't have to worry about them stabbing you in the back.
Another one they say is of the womanly wiles is your language. Apparently, do not swear like a trooper. You know, because men like apparently not to hear all the swear words come out of your mouth, or have a mouth like a gutter. And I can get that, because sometimes I hear the girls and I'm like, oh God, really? And they're just fluent with swearing, and you just think, oh, I just feel bad.
I don't think I was ever that bad. And I think a lot of it was, I would pretty much get my mouth mashed if I said it to my mom.
Yeah,
but then after I got married and had babies, I didn't cuss in front of my babies. So, absolutely. You know, it's only been, I wouldn't say recently, but you know, I might say a word every now and again, but it's usually if I'm upset or something hurt, or, you know, I stumped my toe or something.
I think it's an attractive sometimes quality not to hear a woman swearing like a trooper. We are supposed to be the feminine. And I think that sometimes if you hear them swearing like a trooper, it can be a little bit maybe like, wow, you know, it's full on.
Well, you know, just myself, I don't like seeing men. You know, I don't like listening to men who cuss every breath.
I agree with you totally on
that. You know, I'm like, there's things that don't need the F word in the middle of them. I mean, really.
Okay.
You know, when you just make up a word to put the F word in the middle of it, you know, that's a little too far.
So another one is when you use your touch. So you brush up against a man, lightly touching a shoulder or a knee or an arm, and you just run your fingers down their arm, or perhaps you just touch their hair, or perhaps you just, like, you know, brush an imaginary hair off their chest. So it's not threatening, it's very feminine. I mean, I've done that. I'm guilty of that. How about you?
I'm guilty of that one. I'm very touchy-feely.
Me too.
Whether it's just touching their arm, or, you know, like you go around them and you put your hand on their back as you go around. I'm guilty. I'm a very touchy-feely person. So.
And I think it's a very powerful thing to do as well. It's very powerful to just, you know, it's that connection, isn't it? It's that you can feel the electric vibes between you. And it's like, they touched me. You know, you just like, well, Josie says, She worked in the jail, and her cursing had got so bad because that's the only way they would listen to her. But since she's not working in there, it's calmed right down. And she's also a very touchy person. I can imagine in prison you do have to stand your ground and be one of them, otherwise they won't listen to you. So let's move this through the list. And what else? Be highly empathic. Now, do you believe that? Do you believe to be you wouldn't think that, would you? A womanly Wile is empathic.
I didn't know. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that it would be on the list, but I can understand where it comes in.
Yeah.
Because, if your husband comes in and he's like mad as hell at something, he's not going to want you to do the little baby voice.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to most likely tell you to leave him alone.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to change your actions, get the same result, but change your actions according to how he's,
I think a really popular one is to be very sultry, to perhaps put the red high heels on, underwear, lingerie, red lipstick, and really work everything you've got, because I think that is an absolute winner. Not that I'm saying anything, but just saying. Maybe some experience of it, but I think underwear, I think lingerie, if a guy knows you're wearing lingerie, he either wants to get it off or he wants to see it. And if you're wearing the red high heels with it, I think, what do you feel? Have you had those moments, Val?
I've had good and bad moments with that.
Do I want to know the bad?
Well, I'll just say it doesn't feel very nice when you have new lingerie on and you come out and you show your husband and he goes back to watching what he was watching.
Yeah.
And you're like, got it. But,
it's interesting because I'm just going to run through time some of these other ones which obviously came up. Obviously, be nurturing, nurture your man. Not mother him, ladies. There's a difference. Nurture your man. Take care of him. Show him your softer side. That's quite important. Smell good. We've already covered. Walk elegantly. Well, I agree with that, because if you see a woman it's just not so attractive. The other one, speak with your eyes. And I actually believe that. I think you can make love to someone just using your eyes.
Oh, absolutely.
You can come to bed eyes are very important, whether it's a guy or a girl. But us women, we really know how to work it. We really, really do. On average. That's Alexa listening to me. Using your pouty lip. And here's one that I absolutely love. Speak softly. When you lower your voice and you know how to work it, and you're like, you've been a very bad boy. That they love that. I mean, they really, really do. I mean, you must know what that's like. You must have done the whole sultry voice.
I have. I mean, apparently it worked. I don't know if that's what did it or not, but
you lowered your voice and they were like, hello. And especially if you talk in their ear, like, and I actually know women that go to classes to learn how to be sexy, to learn how to talk to guys. And it's
I need to sign up for one of them.
I need to teach them. It's like, it's so interesting. And it is all about the voice, how you accentuate your words, what you say, how you say them. Josie says her hubby loves sultry. You have to spice it up, especially as when you've been together a long time. Thank you very much for the lovely compliment. The voice, especially with your accent, Wendy. And I agree with Val, though, as well, because she has that gorgeous accent. And some things you come out and say about, it's so singy song. It's and I'm just like, it's sexy.
Did you see the thing that I sent you about my Southern accent actually
Yeah,
is your accent?
it is English. It's the original, the
It's
nearest to English.
if you slow mine down, no, if you speed mine up, it's Wendy's accent.
Yeah, because you're apparently one of the most original in in the colonials, that basically is similar to the English.
Yeah, and
Phil Guy says he's been bad. What a coincidence. Nothing new from.
I know it said what was it down in Louisiana? If you speed theirs up, it's French,
Yes,
and if you slow it down, it's Cajun.
very
And then
interesting.
up where I'm at, if you speed mine up, I'm it's like a slowed down version of English.
I'd be interested to know what I would sound like with your accent and yours with mine.
Right.
That would be. And when I lived in Canada for a while, I definitely picked up some Canadianisms, which I still say all the time, like, right? I just
Eh?
say a lot of that. Okay, going through the list. Appear pleased. Men like to feel they can impress the women around them. If you want to show a guy your feminine wiles, make sure you always look happy around him. Well, I'm not sure about that on that one because, we can't be happy 24/7 with them. But I think they're talking about the resting bitch face at that point.
Well, that could be that could be true. I would have to agree.
I don't
I
think
mean,
men.
if you go to bed and your wife is like, night, you know, you're not gonna be like, ooh, gonna be a fun night.
I think once you get to a point in your womanhood and you realize that your charms do have serious power over a guy, and I think that's a good thing to remember here. We as women are powerful. We do have powers. We do have charms, and we know how to use them for the right reason in the right context. There are women out there who do use them for whatever other reasons that give us all a bad name. But I think that we should embrace our womanly wiles and accept them. And
absolutely.
Why not? I mean, we were born with them. Why not use them?
Well, a lot, in the past, a lot of women have been used for their women, their female wiles, because I found several women spies. The soldiers used those women to seduce the opposite side to get intel.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about the Matahari. And have you ever heard of her?
Oh, yes, I have. She was a very famous spy.
And I'll probably butcher her name, but her name was Margaretha Gertrudia MacLeod.
Good luck with that one.
She was an exotic dancer and a courtesan who was involved with a Russian pilot serving with the French in World War One. When he was shot down in a shootout, when he was shot down, he lost he was really injured, and he lost the sight in his left eye. And she wanted to go see him, across the line. She wanted to go visit him across the line. And they told her that these French guards told her that if she would spy for them, that they would allow her to go see him. So she agreed, and she spied for France. And they believed that she could obtain information by seducing the crown prince for military secrets. she didn't know at the time that the crown prince really had no idea, because that was the first time he had been on the front lines. He didn't know anything to give her. He really didn't have any intel.
I mean, pillow talk is very powerful, and especially as
absolutely.
In her position, she'd have done a lot of information at that point.
And Mata Hari was, I mean, she invented the striptease. Okay, she would dance, and just people would just fall at her feet, because she was such a wonderful exotic dancer. And she would do these striptease, and she could pretty much have whatever she wanted. Men would give her whatever. So when she agreed, she went to the Russian side, or not the Russian side, but the French. Hang on. She offered to share French secrets with the Germans, which was the opposite side. But she offered to give them, the French secrets in exchange for money. Well, they agreed, but instead of feeding them French secrets, she merely told the Germans about French sex lives. That's all the information she gave them. So the general decided to terminate her employment because she wasn't giving them anything. They would pay her, but she wouldn't bring nothing back. So she was pretty much playing both sides. So he terminated her employment with Germany by exposing her as a spy. And she was arrested, and I mean, she was accused with all this, and ended up being executed by a firing squad.
My God.
In 1917, she was 41 years old. When they came to get her in her room, she had on black stockings, high heels, a fur-lined cape. She was ready. And she literally told them, "I'm ready." So they take her and they tie her up to the pole, the firing squad.
Yeah.
The guy offered her a blindfold, and she said, "Do I have to wear that?" So she didn't wear it. The general, the one that offered her this, was heard on his way from her back to the line of people firing at her. He was overheard saying, "She really knows how to die." And then when I don't know what he's called, but the guy that raises up the sword, and tells them to get ready.
Ready, aim, fire.
Right. When he raised his sword up, he looked at her, and she caught his eye. And she kind of gave him a sultry look and blew a kiss to him. And one of the guys that were getting ready to fire fainted. And the rest of them, when he brought it down, they shot. But to the very end, she kind of gave a sultry, little look and blew a kiss to him.
Well, she went out the way she lived, which was, in her power. And I think that's all any of us can ever ask as women.
And really, she knew that she had that power from the time she was 15.
Yeah.
Because she went to school, and her teacher was trying to, was attracted to her. So her family pulled her out of that school.
I think it's important to love being a woman, and it took me years to love being a woman.
Yeah.
And the fact that it actually took me to my late, as I said, into my 40s, late 40s, for me to really love my body and to
Same here.
really love being a woman, and actually going, yeah, like, embracing all the womanly parts, and your
Yeah.
boobs and your, I'm still working on the bum department and the legs department, but it's
I'm
like,
still working on this part. The rest of it I'm okay with, but this I could do something about.
I think that's really powerful. One of the most, I mean, looking at some of the women that I used in that promo: Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sharon Stone, Ursula Andress, Halle Berry, Pamela Anderson. These are all women that are in their power. And even with Mari Hurry, I think her name was, literally, this is a woman who died in her power. She knew, she knew where her strength lie. And I think that as women, we should be encouraged to use our womanly wiles. How about, though, if someone else uses their womanly wiles against your guy, against the guy you're with? Like, there's someone that you're interested in, and the other person's working it because you recognize it. Like, are we then celebrating that, or are we saying that's not going to work?
Well, if it comes to, someone using theirs on, say, someone I'm with,
Yeah.
I mean, if she gets him, if he gives her what she wants, she deserves him and she can have him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing about respecting other women.
Yeah.
You don't go and try to seduce your friend's, man. That's not, it's kind of, what is it, girl code? You don't do that.
For me, Marilyn Monroe is probably the one that sticks out. And Jane Mansfield and ladies like that really were in their power and took all their womanly wiles and put it out there, and they are still seen as iconic. I mean, Marilyn is iconic. She wasn't, everyone thought she was this blonde bimbo, but she really wasn't. And then if you go into today's world and look at Pamela Anderson, who's a massive animal campaigner, against cruelty, and even Sharon Stone said that when she got into her 50s, it was almost like she's not sexy anymore in Hollywood. And I think that's what happens, and definitely ageism comes into that.
Right.
You shouldn't be using your womanly wiles at that age. And what's your view on that?
Well, getting ready to be 50, I think that is bullshit. But it's almost like a different thing in Hollywood, though. They have the new people coming in. So the older you get, the more or the less your roles get.
Yeah.
Because people are so used to seeing young people doing certain things. But I still think, and what is her name? She played with Jason Momoa as his mother in Aquaman. Michelle Pfeiffer. No.
Was it Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman.
Mm.
Roles like that, she looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think roles like that can keep, the older, I shouldn't say older generation. I'm one of them.
The ladies in their prime, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is this ageism, isn't there, that you shouldn't be sexy. You shouldn't use your womanly wiles at a certain age. And I actually think women get more sexy as they get older, and they want to embrace it more.
Right. Well, I think it's because we've learned how to do that. Up to then, you kind of listen to everybody else. But when you get to a certain age, you think, you become confident in yourself and know you can do certain things instead of just, well, I'm beautiful and I'm fit and all this. That's what I'm leaning on. But the older you get, you have to fall back on confidence because you don't look like you did when you were 20.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, I think it goes more inside than what's on the outside.
I think, as I said, looking back to when I was in my 20s, I didn't feel sexy. I would say that I am an absolute 3, whatever it is. I've gone right around the other way from what I was to who I am now, and it's a journey. And I think being a woman, if you're not taught it, if and you don't learn it from your peers, etc., you have to kind of do the journey on your own. And as I said, my young friend, she's still starting off on that road now. She hasn't got a mum that kind of gives her that, yeah, this looks really, really good on you. And, she encourages that. She doesn't have that. And I think it's really important to have that encouragement. And we don't always get it from our parents. We really, really don't.
And that's why I think we need to be there for each other.
Yeah.
To give each other that confidence that we do need, that little boost of, you look great, or you got this, or, you're stronger than you think you are.
I think it's probably a good note to end on, is the fact that you see it as it's not the outside. The outside could look amazing, but it's the inside that gives you the power. It's your belief in yourself that gives you the power, and in your womanly wiles, because without that confidence, without that belief, you cannot bring them forward with conviction. Like you said, I was so self-confident, self-conscious that I couldn't be sexy. I couldn't tap into my womanly wiles. So I was crap at flirting.
Yeah.
Which is, you look back now and you think, give me another go at it.
I will even be worse.
I'm sure you would actually be very good at it now, because, as you say, you've learned a lot over the years.
I have.
And it was one of the things when we talked about this was like, I think women, as I said, we're all about supporting each other and being there for each other. And it doesn't matter about the outside so much. It's your inner confidence. It's your inner glow. It's that inner power. Alison says she always tells her girls how gorgeous they are and they can achieve anything. And I think that's a really important thing to do. I didn't really have that much. I was always told that I could achieve anything, but I never had the whole, you look gorgeous. I think it's important to tell our younger generation that the gorgeousness is definitely inside.
This is what my daughters gave me.
Mum, you keep me growing. Thanks for always believing in me. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Love you, Mum. M and Meg. Is that Meg?
Meg, yeah.
That's lovely.
So they know that no matter what they've ever tried to do, I've always been behind them.
Yeah.
And even if they failed at it, you tried. That's the hardest thing to do, is try.
And you know what? Just embrace being a woman. I mean, that's something I really feel is really important. Embrace being a woman. Embrace your curves, or, because if you've got that inner confidence, you can walk in a room no matter what. You don't always have to wear the red high heels and the red lipstick or whatever. You could just be wearing a dressing gown, but boy, you can still work it.
Sure.
I mean,
and it doesn't matter what other people, other women, or, it doesn't matter what they think. If you feel confident and secure, it doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't dampen how you feel, because you literally don't care how they feel.
If you had to give your daughters, tell them how to embrace their womanly wiles, what would you say to them?
Always use it for good and never for evil. But no, just be who you want to be. Yourself, be yourself, because once you get that confidence, nothing's going to stop you from achieving what you want to achieve.
I've got 3 beautiful nieces, and one is in her 30s and the other 2 are in their sort of late teens. And they are both gorgeous in their own ways, very, very different personalities. But you can see that one has perhaps more confidence than the other one. And I was a late bloomer as well. So I think that there's never give up hope. We all got our womanly wiles and we should use them. Embrace it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to swap over to the Afterglow. We'd love you to stay with us. Thanks so much. I hope you've learned something today from the gorgeous Valerie and myself. I know that there's a few I didn't actually read on there, Val, and I'm going to the Afterglow to read them because you won't believe what they were. And I'm like, no, I'm going to save those for the Afterglow. So it's definitely worth coming in. So yes, let's go into the Afterglow and see you shortly. And welcome to the Afterglow. I have to say, I have Michael waiting in the wings to bring on, but we could do with a few guys on here because we know you're watching. Taking down some tips there. Let's just bring Michael in for the show. Hello, look at you, Dr. Feelgood.
Something. No, the whole voice thing, and not to get too, but I had a medical scare, and I got a voice message, and the lady that was driving me home, which is my neighbor, which is never fazed by nothing, and she's like, that woman knows how to use her voice, and I'm just listening to it, and I'm like, maybe I'm not going to die, I got something I need to hang around for.
Oh, you mean the accent, right?
Oh yeah, the accent and the low.
But
you go home and drink some water, and I hate water. I went home and drank water. I'm like, holy hell.
But also, right back at you, you guys have that beautiful sing-song accent. Like Valerie. I can't do it, but Valerie will say something, or you'll say something, or Ken will say something, and I'll just be like, "Oh, it's so hard."
It's like, so y'all go over here. We get in the truck. Or we're going up in the field. We're going to do some farmer shit.
Perhaps not that bit, but Val, one of the things they actually put about your womanly wiles, and I kid you not, and it says, I actually don't quite know how to word this.
Just write what it says. Just read what it says.
I don't think I can. It's a word I absolutely can't stand. It says, apparently, to embrace your feminine and to use your womanly wiles to full power is to learn about self-pleasure.
Masturbation.
Because you are, what you want, what you're doing, and you know how to show it. So, and the words they use here are touch it, explore it, and become best friends with it. And I was
you should be best friends with it. You've had it all your life.
Exactly. And do you remember that scene from Sex and the City where Charlotte had never seen she'd never seen her girly bits. She just thought, like, I don't know. And they were like, you've never looked at it? And she went, it's ugly. I don't want to look at it. And they were like, you need to get a mirror and you need to look at it and go, and see what the power of the pussy is all about, right?
Right.
And so she did. She actually went and did it with this mirror. And she was like, whoa, wow. And I think there's a point there. I think you do have to learn all about the power of the pussy. That's for sure. That's the words it says here, and I'm just saying it.
My grandfather always said, "Is the good Lord made anything better on God's green earth, He kept it for Himself." And he had 18 kids. So he knew what the
Apparently
power.
he liked it.
Pretty much, now that I'm older, I couldn't figure out why in their later years they had separate bedrooms. But my grandmother was tired.
She said, "Get the hell away from me, old man."
Pretty much. She's like, yeah, you carry your big ass over there somewhere.
Yeah.
But the womanly wiles, the knowing the power. And Wendy has saw my friend Brian. I always call him the white Jesus. He's got this really long curly hair. And these women will be over, they'll be flicking their hair, biting their lip. And this poor boy is oblivious. Me being a 50-year-old guy, I'm like, hey, Brian, if she likes you. And he looks and says, are you sure? And it makes you want to smack the shit out of him. I'm like,
I know some people like that, and I'm like, really?
wow,
really?
Yeah.
And I can hear the tone of the voice change. I can hear it get a little deeper, and they come over and they start playing with their hair or their neck, and getting real close. And he's like,
thing, isn't it? Like,
and it's like,
yeah.
And he's like, no. I'm like, Brian, you're an idiot. Go in there, And I think he is. He's like, Mike's the best guy that he said. He's honest, that he's up front. He said he'll take me to the side and say, look.
But I think it's the same with women. If women don't embrace their confidence, and their womanly wiles, guys don't do it either. I think some guys have very low self-confidence, and I think you have to find it to bring it out. The other one that it brought up was watch porn or read erotica. And that's an interesting topic, because I wouldn't have thought that come under womanly wiles.
Well, I think it gives you that confidence because of the people in, whatever you're reading. I read a lot of paranormal romance books, and like the Scottish Highlands back in the 1400s, and and the women had a lot of pull back then.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't necessarily know that, but they were behind their husbands. They were not really seen, but they had a lot of pull when it comes to their husband.
I don't think sorry, Michael. I don't think men always want women who are dainty and cute. Sometimes I think they want a woman who's really in their power, knows what they want, and goes for it and explores it because it's sexy.
Well, I think they want a partner.
Yeah.
Look at Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie had all the power. That's what kept pulling Clyde back to her. She was more brutal when it came to getting what she wanted. And poor Clyde was just, okay, we're going to go do this. And he just followed her around with 9 toes or whatever, how many toes they had.
Power of the pussy obviously there was working.
The money had it going up. But you think about it, like
good shit.
When you lay your head down at night beside your significant other, they're the last person that speaks into your ear.
Yeah.
They're the first person you wake up with. And it's always, that's how come, and the honeypot, she's talking about the power of the pussy or whatever, you think about these guys was so relaxed because they thought these women was only breast and vagina. They're saying, hey, we're doing true movement here. This is what we're going to do here. And their microphones all over the wall. And this guy has probably got the best slay of his life. He is defenses is totally down. And she's over there like, where did you say that was going to? How many airplanes you got? Oh, big ass boat. Okay.
And I mean, they didn't think twice about it because number one, she's just a woman.
Just a woman.
And number two, they had no reason to doubt I mean, she came to their, to their room, to their, she did this. What reason would she have to, be deceptive?
Mm.
Oh, women can, and like I said, when I say this, women are very good that even deception. And it's like,
Really?
and me and Wendy's had this talk about this subject before. I have seen it, my years in the military, and some of the most dangerous women on the planet are Israelis. They're beautiful. They got the olive skin, and they're trained mercenaries, basically. So I'm like, and they know how to use all their womanly wiles, because they are gorgeous.
Well, and I think womanly wiles can be not always defined by sex.
No.
Something else is like, you were telling that one day, if I look pitiful and like I need help, if I look innocent, you're more likely to help me and do what I want you to do.
Yeah, the wounded puppy face. If I'm broke down on the side of the road, they'd be like, "Oh hell, he's a man. He's got it fixed." If you drive by and see a woman, only thing she's got to do is smudge her makeup a little bit, it look like she's been crying, then every guy's in 4 counties like, "Oh, let's go fix that."
Yeah,
bless her heart. We this needs to stop.
But I think,
it goes with the men too. They want to show you how good they are and how.
Yeah.
So it's kind of back. Even our ancestors, the cavemen, the people who could fix things, the big and strong people got the chick.
Do we think that men have, if I want to use the, for a better term, wiles of their own? Do we think that?
Good question. I wasn't ready for that one. I've been sitting there listening, taking notes.
I think some do, but I think some try to. Some actually do have that naturally.
I think men know how to,
and some just, it comes across as them being an arrogant ass.
But I also think men know how to work a room if they're confident in themselves. They can use the eye contact. They will do the slight touching. They will change their voice. They will maybe stop swearing to talk to you or whatever. They'll make an effort at how they look and smell and everything. I think that men have them too, but they never talk about that. It's something that's never talked about. If a man is wily.
Oh yeah, like Wile E. Coyote. It never worked out for him.
I think it's, and I don't mean disrespect to any men. Believe me, I don't. But I think it's the fact that women can say no a lot easier than men can.
Yeah.
I think that, and not that we're smarter, not that we're anything like that. It's just, I think women seduce men easier than men seduce women, because we have the ability to reject it easier than they can. Does that make sense?
Most time a man is just looking for approval, a calm word, you know what I'm saying? And and I've had this, like I said, we had a conversation, men are fixers. House be burning down. Oh honey, don't worry about it. I'll build you a deck. I got this. You need a new picture window? I got you. And women are more nesters. This is my nest. Let's make sure, and the man's job is to fix the nest. And that's,
well, another thing is when a woman, is seducing a man, that boosts his ego.
Oh yeah.
Way up.
Yeah, men run off of ego.
I mean, if he feels like someone is attracted to him, it's going to puff him up, whether he wants it to or not.
Looks like a blowfish. Yeah. And I used to tell my guys in the Army, I tell them, I said, hey, if you have to be an asshole, be her asshole. And they said, what does that mean? Everybody else in the world gets that part of you. but don't bring it home to her. And that's like I was, Good Housekeeping used to write articles, and they'd say women. That was the 40s. That was the Betty Crocker type thing.
Yeah.
Freshen your lipstick, put on perfume, straighten your dress, touch up your makeup, brush your hair. And, he's had a hard day. He's dealt with dickheads all day long. Be something nice to look at when he comes home. Let him know why he's out in the rat race from 7 to 5. If you come home and it's all disheveled or whatever, you're thinking, why the hell am I doing this for? But you come home and your wife is all, she's pretty, a good meal's cooked. And then when I'm saying that, y'all know, it's more of a partnership, but back then, it worked. And marriages worked for 50, 60
well,
years.
back then, that was her work.
It was. And,
she didn't get out and go to a 9-to-5 job. That was her job.
Her domain.
Now both parents have jobs, plus they have kids, and so it's not the same. Now I know some women prefer it that way, and that's great.
And I got a cousin. He will straight tell you, happy wife, happy life.
Very true.
And she stays home. She takes care of her kids. She homeschools her kids. And
on this where I got all these womanly wiles from, it talks about some of the women of Hollywood that have used their womanly wiles to basically be, to get what they wanted. One of them would be Mae West. I mean, you only have to look at Mae West. She was incredibly strong, knew what she had, knew how to work it. And then we go into obviously like later date Marilyn Monroe, obviously being one of the most. I mean, that woman, as I said, so iconic. About the 7-year itch and Some Like Your Heart. I mean, fabulous.
How long has she been passed away and her face is still on posters and T-shirts?
It will be forever.
It always will, just like Elvis.
It's, Elizabeth Taylor is another woman that would use her eyes a hell of a lot, and her cleavage and her voice.
She had some really beautiful eyes.
But I always thought Sophia Loren. Was more sexy because
she was.
Curves. She'd come out and say it, and you'd look at Sophia Loren, you'd be like, that woman would give you a good time.
Yeah.
But like I said, Elizabeth Taylor never really done it for me. I don't know what it is about her. I don't know, jawline or something, but no. And
then obviously, if you go into Kim Basinger. Very sexy woman, very much, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, very much into the whole, you can't wear an outfit like that without having to be completely confident. And obviously Sharon Stone, when she did Basic Instinct, which I think every woman would just looks back and goes, I want to be her.
Exactly.
She didn't give a shit, and she was in her power, and she knew she looked good, and they were all drooling over her. She knew that, right?
POC, power of the what? But anyway, I didn't know that I was into women in skin tight leather until I saw her in Catwoman. I'm like,
she's a fine looking woman.
Hell, I thought she looked hot in Catwoman. I don't know anybody that didn't.
I'm thinking,
women or men.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, we need that Bristol. Why ain't that here? We need to import
I think she should be the original Catwoman, because I know Halle Berry went on to do it and it just didn't work.
I liked Kim. I liked her best.
Yeah.
I don't think any woman has come up to Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. But all these women, what I'm saying, all these women showed their womanly wiles. And there's a very famous quote which says, a woman is like an ocean, beautiful to look at, but dangerous to cross. And I think sometimes we are like the siren on the edge of the rocks. We're calling the sailors and the ship in to crash on our shores. And they are so blinded by what they see, how we talk to them, how we touch them. They come into the rocks and they crash. So womanly wiles, we are powerful. It works.
But you look at it, another one that used her wiles, which is not a pretty woman, Hillary Clinton. She led her man and pushed him in, and she was a whole lot more cutthroat than Bill. Bill's just a dumb country boy from Arkansas, and and Hillary used everything she had as a woman. Like I said, can't stand the woman. Totally disagree with her political ideology.
Yeah,
But she is a dangerous adversary.
absolutely.
I got things on
Because
my
she's
wall.
got power. A woman
Yeah.
with power and confidence.
And
You
Sarah
wouldn't
Palin.
call Margaret Thatcher. You wouldn't have called Margaret Thatcher sexy,
Oh.
though, would you?
I loved Margaret Thatcher. They always said she was like somebody with a bigger dick, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I get it, because but
She reminds you of a dude in a dress. I mean,
she looks like the guy who that looked dodgy that would beat your ass and take your wallet if you didn't pay him at the pub. But I always liked her because she did. She pushed out that.
I liked her too.
She had balls. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knew that she had
Not
more
literally, but
Well, I actually think
she probably carried a bunch of men's balls home for
but
trophies.
she knew how to walk in a room and control it. And I think she didn't even show any womanly wiles. She didn't use any of it. She had that inner confidence, and that's what I'm
but
saying.
that confidence, and like I said with Hillary, that confidence along with that power, she didn't need to show anything.
But let
She
me
had the power, which I'm sure the confidence gave her power and power gave her confidence. So,
oh yeah, won't breathe.
Hi, Colleen. Colleen's
Hi,
in the room.
Colleen.
Just
You think about it, the Queen just recently passed because y'all just had the coronation. But the Queen, very powerful woman, and she could be funny. The thing she did with Jason Statham, who would have thought a 90-some-year-old monarch could hold her room at her age and be funny and witty, and she would go out.
do you mean Daniel Craig when she did that whole Bond?
When she did 007.
Yeah,
007.
yeah, Daniel, and she's like, "Well, I'm the Queen. I should have a line, don't you think?" They said, "You're the Queen of England. You can have anything you want." And I look at William's wife, Kate, the way she carries herself, being overall, and she knows that the eyes of the world is on her no matter where she goes.
Absolutely.
The way she ushers her children, the way she handles her husband, which is the future King of England.
Oh yeah.
But I see her the way she works him. When he just had his retirement from his regiment, they brought her flowers because they know the real power behind the throne. And
Well, what do they say? Behind every good man is a good woman, right?
Well, and what was it that I think it was on a movie. The daughter was talking to her mother, and she said, "But Daddy won't do whatever." And she says, "Listen, your daddy might be the head of the household, but I'm the neck, and I can turn his head any way I want to."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With a smile, a touch, a wink, a nod. Oh yeah.
Even the strictest and the proudest man, if he has a good woman, she can make him see both sides.
Oh yeah.
And she can change his opinion and his mind on things. Nobody else even knows that she's the one behind it, but she does.
Yeah, look at Vikings. Lagertha kept Ragnar on a short leash.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they got divorced because he could not keep his loyalty, she's like, "I don't care who you screw, just don't fall in love with him." What did he do? Brings home another woman. Totally screwed that up. He did not read the room right. So then when she got her earldom back, whatever they called it, and the guy's like, oh, our honeymoon sex, and she gutted him like a fish. She's like, "No, I'm still the what do you call
women
it?"
I mean, we can be the most motherly, comforting, peaceful, everything.
Yeah.
But in the wrong circumstance, we can be extremely vicious.
Oh yeah.
Even more vicious than men.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because it's actually more vicious or if it comes across more vicious because we are supposed to be the just the polar opposite of, you know,
my mom,
of
yeah, oh,
of
see,
what happened.
my mom used to talk about my grandmother on my dad's side. Said she could coddle a baby in one arm and beat you to death with the other.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, oh, now that I'm older, she's probably bipolar, but she beat the hell out of it.
No, she probably had 45 kids running around, and she probably wanted to
Yeah.
beat
No,
to
she
death,
had,
beat
she
some of
had,
them to
she had
death.
5 of her own and 3 stepsons. So, you know,
Yeah.
my dad's side's come from 8 and my mom's side come from 18. So it's like, you know, no wonder these old women was just mad.
Well, my grandmother,
They were tired. You know what I'm saying?
my
They
grandmother
were,
would beat the tar out of you. But
yeah.
if my grandfather touched one of her kids, she would beat the tar out of him.
Oh, he was on.
You know.
And
one of my favorites is Kim Cattrall. Everybody obviously knows her as Samantha in Sex and the City. And I think a really good point to probably end on tonight. And she says, you know, you should really rejoice in being yourself and always go to your own drumbeat. And I think that's very true. I think, you know, it takes us years to get to a point where we're like, I'm feeling it, I'm working it, everyone's picking it up. And I think it's very much an individual thing, but we should encourage each other as women
Absolutely.
to use our womanly wiles in
Absolutely.
maybe our work situation, in our family, definitely with the husband and partner situation, and even if you're out there dating, because when you actually go on a dating site, you're not actually going, oh, they're a lovely person. You're first attracted to how they look.
Yeah.
And you're giving up the best photograph of you, showing all your wiles, you know, whether it's a great cleavage or whether it's a great dress. It's the same as guys, you know, we are selling ourselves. So why not? Why not?
Well, I don't know I've never seen a profile pic of, you know, someone when they're like, they look homeless when they first get up and they're drinking coffee.
I roll with
you know, you always try to put the best, you know, the best looking picture of you up, or, you know, something like that.
I'll tell you one you forgot when you said Samantha. Remember Samantha from Bewitched? Elizabeth Montgomery. I always thought she was such a pretty lady.
Yes, very.
And then the way she carried herself, she was, you know, and she, well, she used her womanly witchy or whatever. And yeah, it's like,
I can't do it.
I never could do it. I had to do her little girl's thing.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know, to move it. And funny enough, Val, we had some feedback this week from a lovely gentleman who actually asked us to look at something to do with the whole internet dating situation. So that's something we got a few shows coming up, and we would have been here earlier tonight, but there was some tech difficulties. You know,
I will go to my daughter's next weekend.
Yes,
it was just Mother's Day, and I didn't get over there. So see me.
But Michael, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and giving us your male voice. It means a lot, and we want more guys to come on and join us because we're quite intrigued to know what the male voice thinks.
I don't want to be the bad guy that have to what they call it, mansplain things.
Yeah, you're just taking it.
I mean, if you start to mansplain anything to us, your ass is gone.
No, like I said, more guys did need to come on. You know, we talk about
Phil guys there for sure, especially when he heard that the whole boob section. So we know and Elvis. So it's lovely. But as I said, we're new, we're growing in feet, and you know, we're just loving it. We're loving the feedback.
And hit that like button. And I see 2 likes on Wicked Women right now. What is wrong with y'all people?
Like, share, delete, or like, share, subscribe.
Delete. Well. Oh Lord, are you drunk?
Like, share, I don't know. I'm tired. And like, share, subscribe. And I started to say subscribe, and then, you know, send it to
your friends.
Bank
The like button,
The like button.
as Mark would say. So, Michael, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you soon. So, Val, it's been wonderful to have you here. I have you to myself for another Sunday.
Absolutely.
I love our times together. One
I
of
do
these
too.
days we'll be in the same place at the same
This
time.
year, we have to plan when we figure out exactly, we will plan a
Absolutely.
special show,
Yes.
and we will be together in the same studio.
And I think it's like, we have different life experiences, but we have so much in common. I think that's why we flow so easily. But thanks guys for being with us tonight, and for being patient, and for waiting us to come on, because we didn't want to let you down. We just had to get through the text.
I tried so hard.
She did. She was
but
like,
we will get better at it, I promise.
And everybody, like, hashtag free Scotty, because the man needs to be given his channel back.
Yes, that's ridiculous.
I would say look out for Scotty Roberts this week, but we're not actually sure when he's going to be back. There will be a Robertson on Tuesday night, 10 o'clock UK, and I believe it's 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock ET and CST, something like that. But you may have to
here.
Is it 5? And then 4 must be 4 where Scotty is.
Yeah.
But you are going to have to look for, and we will put the link out for sure, Robertson's YouTube page, which is waiting to go, because I'm not sure if we can use Scotty's page to do Robertson. It's going to be quite quiet not having Scotty around. And I'm sure KB will be around this week with his coffee show in the mornings.
Yes, and I will be Saturday at 7 o'clock Saturday night with Atlantis.
Yes, I saw that. It looks exciting. It's a subject I've not talked a lot about, so I'm looking forward to watching.
My fibro was kicking my butt last night. I just couldn't do it.
I've always thought Atlantis is a big subject. Very
and
intriguing.
it may be Atlantis Part 1. Because there's so much, to talk about, new findings and all that. It may take more than just one show. So.
I have to watch your show next morning, because I'm normally in bed, and I wake up and I watch it and appreciate it. But KB, so let's get this right. Robertson Tuesday, we have the lovely Val. On Saturday, Myth, Legends, and Paranormal. We have KB sometime this week. He will be on with his coffee show. Look out for that,
Morning
guys.
Coffee with KB.
Morning
9 o'clock.
Just saying.
Monday through Friday.
Don't be afeared. And we will be back next Sunday evening, hopefully at the earlier time.
Well, I'll be in Mechanicsville next Sunday, so I should be able to be there right at 6. So
fabulous. And we have quite an interesting topic, because we kind of know what topics we're going to talk about before we do them. We have a bit of a conflab, and we do have, I believe, a couple of guests coming to join us next week. One was supposed to be here tonight, sadly got the flu and had to. But there is someone definitely coming in next week. So there will be a few guests. So look out for that. So everybody have a great Mum's Day. Val, enjoy your day. What are you going to do for the rest of it?
I'm going to go home and just work on my work on your pyramid. I've got 3 more sides to do and then send it to you. But I have some more pyramids that I need to take pictures of to put on my Macari. My Macari page is up on my Facebook page.
Good to see that. For me, a busy week, because I have the convention next Saturday. I get to meet the lovely Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who kind of like bit intimidated.
Please give him smooches for me.
He's a fine looking man.
God, he's so pretty.
Mind you, so is Mark. Is it Mark Pellegrino who played Lucifer? Now you see, he's a fine man. I may have to go and work my womanly wiles. Would you like to come and see my Impala? I just need to work it, baby, work it. So guys, look out for the little videos of that. It was going to be fun. Anyway, guys, have a great night from the lovely Val.
And a wonderful Wendy.
We will see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.